When I hear both of you guys speak Vietnamese, right? I don't ever hear you guys go, hey, what's up? Oh, what blah, blah, blah. You know, like when you speak to a Korean guy, when you go to a Korean guy, oh yeah, I went to a Korean barbecue and the bulgogi was so good. And like I'm like, just keep it this tone. They're the most bring it down to here and back, bring it down to here.
Hey, but how do you feel about Welcome back to another episode of Careful Boys. Today I wanted to talk about, we've had a lot of different experiences with lots of different races. But in your opinion, based on your own experience, you don't gotta like think about stereotypes, but just your own life experience, which race do you feel like is the snobbiest one?
The snobbiest?
Yeah.
In my experience,
Which ethnicity, I should say?
I think it's a tie with certain whites and certain Asians.
Which ones?
Like high class whites.
What's a high class one?
Yeah,
like
ones
the ones that don't have freckles.
Yeah, they get
actually, yeah, that's a weird way of saying it. I never thought of that.
Freckless whites.
Like you know, working class whites. They're normal. I feel like they're just normal Americans, you know. But like the really posh ones that like send their kids to private schools.
Tennis whites.
Yeah. Okay. The ones that got a lot of money, obviously those are the ones that tend to be the most annoying to deal with from a customer service standpoint.
Oh, really? What kind of things do they request, like, out of you as a lowly serviceman?
Exactly, a lowly serviceman.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this, like, they're more demanding with certain things. They want, like, it's just like how they speak. That's what it really is. It's like how they talk to you. Sometimes they kind of treat you like the help and shit, you know what I mean?
You know what I noticed also at working normal jobs is that white people seemed the most... Like, it's okay. Why can't you just do that? It's fine.
Yeah. Like just break the rule for me.
Yeah, the rules don't, even though you have to follow guidelines, they're like, no one's gonna care. Just do it this way.
I had something where I had to raise my rates on somebody, and raise my rates on my clients, and it was like for everyone, right? All my clients that are normal working class people, they're like, yeah, no worries, all good. But the one that kind of has a little bit more privilege, a little bit more Skrilla.
Okay.
They're like, well, you can't bend it for me. Like, I'm a loyal client, but yeah. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? I'm a loyal client to this gym. And the way they reacted was so crazy to the point where I was like, I don't know if I want you as a client anymore. I'm willing to let you go completely to not even deal with you, because everyone else was so like
cool about it.
Not even just, like, and I'm expecting some people to have like maybe an objection or something, but it was the way she did it, the way she tried to throw things in my face about I did this, I did that. And it's like, whoa, dude, you might be mentally ill though. So, I don't know.
Could be, yeah.
It could just be that they're just a weird person.
It could be, yeah. It's maybe a colorless problem.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but then again, it's like, you could say that, they have some extra money that wasn't necessarily earned by themselves.
Oh, generational throwaway. Okay.
So it's like, it's some interesting way to handle this.
Are you making an assumption, or do you know this specifically?
I don't know. It could be, could not be.
Hey. You know what's an interesting person I decided to choose? Because I've experienced snobbiness from white people, Asian people, and like all sorts of people. Even like Mexican. Like it just depends on where.
Even Mexican?
Yeah, because because you know why? Because in Whittier, there's a lot of Latinos and Latinas, and they've been there for generations, so they grew their wealth, right? Yeah. So it makes sense for them to have like this sort of entitlement. But the one person I think I've experienced the most snobbiness from, and this is like no hate, I love my mom, but dude, sometimes she could like have some entitlement when we do like go out shopping, go eating, especially eating. Well, we'll order something and she'd be like, oh, change this, and that, and then if they get it wrong, she's like, no, you gotta like, she's very like, not demanding, but like, she really wants things her way, and she feels like it's supposed to be like. She's like in her 60s.
No meeting in the middle with people.
Like, yeah, and she'll definitely. I mean, I also think it comes from like a mindset of like scarcity too, where like she needs to take what she can get, and she wants. And by the time that she's got everything she needed, she's like, okay, I need to have more. Like this is how it's gotta be. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's kind of like a good snobby. It's like you want to get what you want. You want to speak up when you don't get what you want.
But how do you feel when your mom's asking the waiter and you're just like,
Sometimes I'm like that. I'm like, man, it actually doesn't matter. It's just like this. But then
Are you saying Vietnamese people are the snobbiest?
they can be. Wow. They can
Do
be
you see it
for
from
sure.
anybody outside of your mom?
For Vietnamese people, yeah, sometimes. Especially, I have some friends that are business owners, and when they go eat, they're very like picky with the way things taste and like are, and I get that. But to me, because I'm a person that I just don't care, so to me, when I see other people care about so many little things that I don't think matters, it just feels like it's a snobbiness. But I don't think that's what it is truly. Because how do you guys define the snobbiness? Like entitlement or like?
I think a good example in my head when I think of snobbiness is how you treat somebody that like is supposed to serve you in some way. Like there's a hierarchy a lot of the time.
So you think mainly service?
I think that's one of the easiest ways.
That's an easy place to see it.
Yeah, just to start with like.
I see it a lot in restaurants for sure.
Or say you hire somebody that does some work for your house or something like that.
The way that I thought of it was like, for me and my experiences was like when I was in high school, I could like, I don't know if this is just the year that this was, maybe it's still around, but in the late 90s, I feel like Koreans were really hardcore about KP.
What's KP?
Korean Pride.
Korean
like,
Pride.
They just
I thought it was Korean Power.
Late 90s.
They would not kick it with you. And it's like, if they're hanging with you, it's because there's no other Koreans. And then once Koreans show up, they're like, all right, later.
I think it's the same mindset too, because isn't it the whole thing where like they also came from a mindset of scarcity, so when they finally got money and like their their country's like coming up, now there's like a sense of like I gotta have everything.
I don't know if it's that, because we were all in high school, we're all kind of in a new environment that we create ourselves. And we got like all kinds of different, Filipino, Laotian, Indonesian, whatever, that are just down to be cool. But it was almost like somebody had told a Korean person and they passed it on that they were the top of the hierarchy.
Oh, is it a superiority complex type of thing?
And I'm not saying like that's always going to be that way, but in high school, for some weird reason, that was a message that we were getting. And it wasn't just me, it was like different high schools that were Asian predominantly had that same kind of cliquish, like, oh, the Korean people are going to kick it and do their
And I didn't see like Koreans intermingling until later on.
Yeah.
Like nowadays you'll see like friend groups like that, but before it'd be just all Koreans. So
I think that's definitely.
I definitely agreed with that. Like,
Did you see that too?
yeah, for sure. Korean pride is the strongest prides of all the Asian prides.
Yeah.
What's second? I think Japanese is second.
Is it?
Maybe.
I had a Japanese friend to stop talking to me.
But I feel like Japanese is other people are more proud for them.
Probably.
Like, dude, like sushi's fucking cool, udon's cool, ramen's cool.
Oh, I see.
Like,
I think Japanese is more polite and humble.
But going to like the whole like, oh, I'm only gonna kick it with my Korean homies. I've had that with Japanese friends before.
They're only gonna kick it with Japanese.
I just think that the Korean pride, like,
How did you see it? Yeah.
at times it could be annoying if you're not Korean. So like I understand my personal experience of why I might see it that way. But like of all the like, I also understand how it's built off a foundation of merit. I understand like you deserve and need and you need that. Like your history is like tough.
It's number one.
And like the fact that you guys, endured a lot of like people trying to oppress you, delete some of your history, invade you, from a lot of these other countries and shit.
Maybe they deserved it though.
Damn, does JK just hates Korean?
I don't hate Koreans. I love Koreans. Hey, watch your fucking mouth, dude. Watch your fucking mouth.
If they made it after the war and they came over to America, like I understand why they maybe were indoctrinated by their parents into this idea of needing to like support other Koreans. Korea is number one.
Yeah, they do a very good job with that.
Whereas like with Chinese people, it's like we got fucking nearly 2 billion. It's not like you need to support other Chinese people. It's like no, you need watch out. Chinese people are gonna steal your shit. So you got like I can.
But then the Asian American experience is unique.
Nah,
because I remember like a Korean dude to pop off, right? A Korean American dude to pop off. All Asians like, yeah, Asian American. Jeremy Lin pops off, and it's just Chinese people. And like Koreans are like, oh, he's not really Korean, so I'm not gonna
They're
support
like,
him.
he's not really that.
They don't support the other Asians, you think?
But part of me respects the fact that like Koreans will only fuck with Koreans.
No, it reminds you of Jewish people.
When white people fuck with white people only, do you respect that?
I don't respect it.
I hardly ever see that.
I expect it, really. You know what I mean? I kind of like see it like, oh yeah, well duh. Like it's just like, yeah, why wouldn't you hang out with people that look just like you?
But I feel like white people are more more like, at least through my experience, they've been more prone to like pulling people into the circle versus taking their circle and going somewhere else. Like, because it's you got a lot of white friends from back in the day.
For sure.
You have a lot of them, and they still keep in contact. I knew I would never see the Koreans ever again, and I never did. And these are dudes that I won talent shows with, that I was close with them. Like, we were cool. But then once they had access to all Koreans, it was bye-bye.
Later.
Bye-bye bulgogi.
Especially when it's like you guys had a lot of like experiences together. Like,
And I don't think they feel that way consciously now. I think it was just whatever the community word was, it reached them. And the word was, no, we gotta stick together. We gotta like pull our resources. We gotta like be strong as a group. And then, you know, you had a mishmash of like Filipino, Black, Indo, whatever. We're all kicking it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it was a very like clear line.
And you know what's crazy? It would be like I'd run into people I went to high school with. Like, let's say I go back to Cerritos or do whatever. And then I would see like two dudes hanging out. Like, I run into them. And I'm like, you two Koreans would still be friends 20 years later. Like, you were like, that made sense. Versus like, you know, in our group would be like mixed.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, of course you and that guy didn't make it, and then of course you and that guy did make it. You know, it's just what that's what I expected in high school, and it's crazy to see like 20 years later that's how it played out.
Yeah. I think there really is a different.
Some crazy bond though.
Yes, there's an Asian. I think there's a unique Asian American LA, if that, experience with like the different subcultures of like Asian in high school.
Maybe it is because we have hella Asians too. Because I don't know if that would be that way in like Houston, where they're just like, any Asian is cool.
but you know what's funny is like when I grew up in middle school, there was only probably like 10 Asian kids in our class, right? In a group of like 50 to 80 kids.
Yeah.
And it was pretty mixed throughout. But the three Korean kids, they stuck together aside from like all the rest of the other Asian kids too. Yeah. So it is like, oh yeah, I remember noticing like, oh, those are the Koreans. Like that's how we talked about them. Like
I feel like that makes sense at that age.
Yeah.
Because like maybe like you're not driving yet, or maybe your parents are like you're really still in control by your parents because they take you everywhere, they pay for you, you live under the roof, they feed you. Yeah. So they're probably like, oh, like I'll take you to, like, I can be friends with your Korean friends' parents, so the connection is more, or we go to the same Korean Christian church.
But also too, like ethnically, they were the most Korean out of like the rest of the kids were all like American Asian kids, you know, but they would speak Korean. They like, you know, and there were some other Korean kids there. But they were way more Americanized.
Linked to their roots,
Yeah, they were more Americanized, so they didn't kick it with the trio of
All I'm saying is if I was Korean, I think I would succumb to the KP hard.
100%.
You can't control it.
100%.
You can't. And then the other part, you know what the ultimate fucking test is?
Nipples?
No. Is how much Glish you speak.
Huh?
Oh, English?
Yeah.
Glish.
So when I hear both of you guys speak Vietnamese, right? I don't ever hear you guys go, hey, what's up? Oh, what blah, blah, blah. You know, like when you speak to a Korean guy, when you go to a Korean guy, oh yeah, I went to a Korean barbecue and the bulgogi was so good. And like I'm like, just keep it this tone. They're the most bring it down to here and back, bring it down to here.
Hey, bro, how do you feel about how do you feel about when people speak Spanglish? You feel the same way?
But they don't emphasize it like that. They just say the word. Oh, who the fuck? No one says.
I make fun of Tip all the time.
King Taco's burritos are so good. No one says that. Even they just go, oh yeah, the burritos were good. Or I like the tacos from. They don't go, I like the tacos from Tacos El Gordo.
But there are like
Koreans do that though.
Yeah, that's true.
They let you know I'm speaking English right now. Chowder baggy, fucking samgyeopsal is so good. You know, and they're like, oh. Yeah. No, I don't go like fucking kung pao chicken. Like I don't say kung pao chicken like that. You know?
Hey, you better start.
I go.
You want to keep this culture
Even I go
alive?
kung pao chicken. I keep it chill.
Yeah,
kung pao.
That is true. Do you think it's based on, maybe, is that a stronger thing? Like, because Koreans technically tend to be connected more to their roots, they speak Korean.
Yeah.
But then like people like me, like I'm Filipino, but I know no Tagalog. Like it's cool. Like maybe there's like
I think that's the divide. That's the divide, bro.
Like, we're not the same.
Especially like, for instance, like when you hang out with like certain Korean folks and they speak hella Korean near you, you're gonna be like, oh, this is not for me. When I go hang out,
okay, I'll just exit this conversation.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, you have pride in what is prideful, right? So like you think about Korean culture from like K-dramas. They kick it like way harder than like a lot of Asian dramas. K-pop music, worldwide phenomenon, fucks up a lot of other Asian sounds. Korean skincare destroys the fucking market, right?
They're the best. They're number one.
Everything Korean, actually, K-barbecue. Everyone loves K-barbecue. You're a fucking loser if you don't like it. So it's like because it's so dominant and like a fucking win in almost every sector of what they do, even fucking Samsung and shit. It's like easy to have pride in that. If like
100%.
If people loved everything Chinese, it would be a lot easier for me to like be Chinese prideful. If everybody loved everything Vietnamese outside of just like pho and their fucking nail salon or some shit, I would have higher pride.
I think it's even less than that. I think it's more about like at home where you grew up, what language is dominant?
Yeah, it could be that.
Is it Chinese? Okay, so then Bart is probably going to be more likely to be speaking, depending on the neighborhood you grew up with.
I don't
but he's
go
not.
like, hey, would you like boba 奶茶?
Yeah.
You want boba? He wants boba, dude.
But like for instance, like in Tiff's family, like most when they're at home, they're speaking Spanish. Like when I'm over at the house, I'm only here to speak Spanish.
Yeah, that's so sweet.
So then, but when she is like with her friends, she gets along better with people who also have similar upbringings, like other Latin folks who only speak Spanish at their house. They have more to connect on versus than someone who's like 5 or 6 generations removed or whatever, where they're like a more American. It's not like the experience is completely different. I just feel like they just kind of bond and vibe different because it makes them feel.
I was thinking about like this. You know when you like talk to another homie or something like that, and like an easy way to connect with them, like quickly and truly, is to talk about them. Yeah. Just any person, social shit, right? It's like if I just hella talk about you, we can flow this conversation because I'm willing to talk about you, right? So imagine if we all love Korean things, we can easily talk about Korean things. That's their shit. They could talk about it.
I have a lot of Korean friends.
But then if they don't like Chinese shit, the conversation goes like, how are you doing? Yeah. You know, it's so surface level. So I think a point of pride still comes from even in the Asian American.
Chinese sucks.
Chinese is the
Chinese
very
sucks.
bad.
Talk about me.
Very bad.
We don't talk about you.
Chinese movie very bad. Chinese film very bad.
Chinese on VCD very bad.
Yeah.
What are giant points of pride for you for like Chinese people?
You think about it that way though?
I don't think about it that way, but what I do know is, so the only time I lean into the Korean realm of my own version would be like, let's say with Jason Chaney, because he's Taiwanese. And I know we're rare, so but I don't, I'm also, I'm aware where I don't try to exclude the group from our conversation.
I'm just saying, what in your mind, out of like all the other cultures, like Chinese is #1 at this, and you believe that shit?
I think Chinese is like number 59 at everything.
They just played a volume game, you know what I mean?
Which is why we only go hard on like kung fu movies.
Chinese shit is like the fucking it's like the fucking Del Taco of the world. it's like after your first 20 options, fine, I'll eat there.
Wait, that's what I'm saying though. Like I think that's where the pride comes from. It's not just like this.
Like it's warranted pride.
Yeah, it's warranted. And maybe it's exacerbated and a little too much when you should be a little considerate that other people maybe don't have as much things to be prideful of.
You're just worried Mike Song's gonna watch this.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
I think we're saying the same thing, bro.
I know he knows it. I'm like, yo, your KP's hella hard. Like, but
Mike's always been mad cool.
Yeah, he's the coolest of the Koreans. That's
I didn't meet Mike Songs in high school.
Yeah.
In high school, you know what it was like? It was like the way I ended was like, all right, I'm not offended by it because I think that's an admirable quality that they have. But the thing that would suck is that a lot of the time when I'm hanging with Korean guys, I'm like a clown and they're like, this guy's funny, huh? All right, let's go do real shit now. And it's like they won't want to kick it when it's like what they really want to do. But then it's like I'm entertaining them.
I didn't have Mike Songs or David's or anything like that in high school, but I was super close with some Koreans, and how I knew I was close with them was my nickname ended up being the N-word. Because you know how Koreans, so the Korean language actually has N-words for every other Asian race, you know that?
Yeah. Whoa.
That's how unique their language is. There's one for Vietnamese, there's one for Chinese, there's probably one for Filipino. They have an N-word for every single one.
Nipponese!
But I ended up being
shit.
But I ended up being the N-word for Chinese, and that they would just call me that, and I felt so accepted.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that a term of endearment or like very derogatory?
I thought I earned it because I was the N-word that could hang with them.
That's tight. That's
Everyone's word.
So last word, Joe. What do you think, Joe? What was your experience with Koreans in high school?
In high school,
Yeah.
dude, I knew one.
Or your whole life.
He was a bookie for gambling.
Joe high school stories, dude.
He was cool as fuck. He was cool as fuck. Shout outs to Johnny.
All right. Which race do you think is the snobbiest?
The snobbiest?
Yeah.
Dude, all Asians are fucking snobby, but for the stupidest reasons. Because I remember I was dating this girl, and her parents were like, Chu Chow and shit, and they were like hella fucking snobby. They're like, oh, he ain't even taller than you.
Hey, Chuchow's my family shit.
Yeah, and I'm all like, bro, you're judging me, but I'm Japanese. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, dude. Like, can't have a fucking Southeast Asian judging me.
You know what's funny though? It's the way you slice the pie though.
Yeah.
Because if you talk about Chinese, the core of Chinese people, the rest of the world doesn't even exist to them. Because they have so many provinces, so I see where that's coming from. Because for them, Chuchao's competing with Sichuan's, competing with Fujian, competing with Taiwan, whatever. They're like, the word China, like Zhongguo, it's like center of the earth, right? That's how they view it. They go, everybody else is an accessory to our empire. That's how they view it. It's like Zhongguo, it's like middle of earth.
Which in the same Korean pride way is warranted based off their population size and like land density. Like it's warranted in a way. It's exacerbated, but you know what I mean? It's built off of some understanding of something.
I think Koreans like me because when I start talking about them or talking to them, I just can't stop talking about their products and their things that I enjoy.
That's what I told you though. You're talking about their shit.
Yeah, and they love it.
How many times are they talking about your Singaporean Chinese ass?
But you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm just like, so what do you guys use for
People from
skincare?
Singapore should actually be snobby though.
Yeah,
Because they're the super
They are.
From Singapore?
I know. They're successful.
They gotta pay a 2x tariff on their cars and shit.
But that's like only gonna take you so far when your birth rate extincts you.
Yeah, or when you're this big, dude. You know?
Sorry, Mike. You know what I do know about Koreans? I think out of all the Asians, they love their own race the most.
And that I'm jealous of.
Yeah,
Me too. That's why I admire it.
No
I admire
fucking
it.
Asians rep
Yeah.
like their own the way that Koreans. When you meet a Korean, you'll know everything about what's manufactured in Korea and their history.
Right.
because they just keep talking about
They
it.
can't stop
And they
telling
know,
you.
and they know it.
We gotta start talking about our own history.
Hey Mike, if you watch this, I tried.
What did you try? What are we talking about?
He was,
How much
trying
we
to
hate
he was trying
Koreans?
to defend Mike.